soldier, sailor, rich man, poor man, beggar man, thief, cook and glover, clown and miser, hangman, swagman, Dutchman, king.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved and made wisely.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved and wisely.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved and owned a man and wisely.
But then, it is probable that all women love unwisely.
Dear Karen, dear Karen, dear Karen, dear Karen, dear Karen, dear Karen, brother who was German, my miseries and alarms dawn, especially when grandma shouted into paradise and you had a red hat on.
Stock of ark the night of November 650 Luper did not mortem affairs under Dreyer's influence.
We sent everything, paintings, furniture, drawings, mirrors, staircases, plants, trees, statues, fontaines, along with the architects, the gardeners, and the decorators off to Versailles.
Luper, come here. I want to know something.
Tulse Luper was taken to Vaux-le-Vicomte, a chateau just outside Paris. Luper's jailer, Lefrenic, wanted him to be safe, secure, at peace, and stimulated. Tulse Luper was an investment. France was occupied by the Germans, and so was the chateau of Vaux-le-Vicomte.
Words. Exactly, yeah.
Its commanding officer was General Firstling, an Anglophile, amateur historian, man interested in languages of every description, a man like Luper, interested in communications with the world, a man certainly interested in communicating his ideas of history to the world.
This is Tulse Luper. I'm a prisoner at Vaux. This is Tulse Luper.
I've been a prisoner all my life. Of the army. But never has a prison been so attractive.
Louis XIV's financial secretary, Fouquet, built the chateau at Vaux on an entirely novel plan in 1660, with no architects, no garden designers, no interior decorators. He excited the envy of his master, the 23-year-old Louis XIV, who had Fouquet arrested and impeached and jailed for life. Louis rebuilt Vaux all over again in a larger version at Versailles. Some say Louis had Fouquet imprisoned in an iron mask.
Order, beauty, nature, mathematics, control.
A little German paradise.
A masterpiece built by a discerning man who spent half his life in prison. To have all this and be forced to exchange it for a dark cell. You are a writer. What do you write?
Lists.
Catalogues.
Inventories.
I cannot believe that you could be so simple.
Is a list such a simple thing? Let me make a list.
Take the most obvious.
A laundry list.
Two pairs of shoes.
4 pillowcases. 2 plain, 2 edged with lace.
2 with lace around the edges.
2 shirts, 2 blouses. 2 white,
2 off-white.
4 vests, 4 underpants.
A white
broderie Anglaise petticoat. A camisole.
2 pairs of
16 pairs of white stockings.
And a garter belt.
A white damask tablecloth.
And 12
matching damask napkins. You see, a whole household is revealed.
All in one colour.
In one. Domestic relationships uncovered.
Wealth,
class, wealth,
tensions,
extravagance, some sensuality,
and some sensuality.
Perhaps even happiness.
Happiness.
The imagination of the reader is excited. The lists can be
reordered.
Catalogues update and embrace everything.
And the inventories can embrace
histories. And yet all these objects with their
histories
and associations
can be packed into
one suitcase.
Everything in the world has been created to be put into
a book, a prison,
a suitcase. For some 10 years now, my private fantasy has been to find and adopt 2 children, a girl and a boy, to watch over them, to rear them, to eventually make me children. Is that a terrible crime? Perhaps you could write down my secret fantasy.
In the early months of 1809,
we can discuss the drama of an old soldier and his secret fantasy of reproduction. Now that I have seen war, there is something else.
Something else. This place. Supposing my personal fantasy were larger. And Vo
could be a kindergarten for paradise for children, German children. Perhaps in near future, French children. Maybe one day, English children.
Luper's reply to this question is unrecorded. He had heard of the German plan for eugenics. He was a Darwinist, and he did write a fable of sorts. He wrote it as a play called The Pairing, that dramatized the rearing of 2 children for the roles of future parents, a boy and a girl, by a childless 17th century marquis. The play was banned in France.
This is Tulse Luper. I'm a prisoner at Vaux.
This is Charlotte Kersey.
I am a prisoner at Vaux.
This is Tulse Luper, calling from Vaux.
This is Charlotte calling from Vaux.
Sissy, are you there?
Hippolyte, I love you more than words can bear.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Each day is a slow, blank waste of time without you.
Across impossible distances.
Can you hear me saying I love you?
My heart beats. My fingers clench.
My eyes fill with tears.
This is Tulse Luper calling from Vaux. Sissy, I love you.
My name is Charlotte des Arbres. I am a prisoner at Vaux. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved an older man unwisely. She cooked for him, cleaned his boots, combed his hair, washed his clothes, kept him in pocket money by taking lovers, watched over him until he fell asleep smiling, his head on her breast. She shut him up in a bedroom with a white counterpane and a scrapped bidet. Eventually, he escaped. He ran away with a widow who hated him. They lived in Madrid on melons and avocados. When he gets tired of her and her melons, he will come back to me.
My name is Tulse Luper, and I'm a prisoner of love. My name is Tulse Luper, and
In the early months of 1809, the Marquis buried his wife. It was a certain impediment removed. They had no children together, at least.
You mustn't think me
the
so
wife had no
bad.
children, the Marquis had
My
many.
mother's German, you know, and I was looking after her, and well, I stayed, and they treated her very, very well, and me, and I'm sure it's not just because my mother was Nietzsche's sister's best friend, considering what became of him, although it could be. My mother went to Patagonia, you know, to help with the colony experiment with German farmers. Aren't those men splendid looking? So upright, you know. I mean, so exceedingly white and, well, blooming. But just so that my friends in England should not think me so entirely bad, I thought I'd, you know, help out a little. Become a sort of spy.
You would be shot.
You would be shot.
No, I wouldn't. Oh, no, that wouldn't be fair. That wouldn't be fair. Not with my mother being German and Nietzsche's sister's best friend, all through Patagonia and such. You must help me.
I would be shot.
I would be shot.
Aren't you going to be shot anyway? I mean, James on the lawn in public. I mean, it's so humiliating. What are you writing? Don't tell me. I'll probably read it anyway when I get back to London. I'd like to write articles from Vaux for an English newspaper, a good newspaper, a good out-of-town newspaper. I don't think my writing style would be sophisticated enough for a London newspaper. Not yet, anyway. A newspaper from the respectable provinces, like the Manchester Guardian. Yes, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to write articles about the garden paradise of Vaux for the Manchester Guardian, in code.
Why in code?
Why in code?
I thought that's what spies did.
Haven't we been here before?
Pardon?
About spies being shot?
You are being difficult. I only want to help.
All right. Give me something to put into code.
Give me something to put into code.
I will. I'll write something this afternoon. I will. I'll write something this afternoon, and then I'll give it to you. Surreptitiously. How exciting.
There was another voluntary female prisoner at Vaux, though she might not have quite described herself like that. She would have acknowledged that her prisons tended to be young men.
Why did you do it?
I thought it would excite you.
It didn't. But this does. Now, kiss me, or I'll do it again.
I will kiss you, and then you must promise to do it again.
No, I couldn't possibly. It was too painful.
At first, I must smell your armpit. Oh, you're a very cosmopolitan lady. But I like you being so English. Only clean in the places that show.
Oh, boy. How's that?
Mr. Luper, have you left home? Oh, I say. This looks very impressive. Is this what I've written in code? There are a great many J's.
A greedy bird.
A greedy bird.
And V's. They're all very codey sort of letters, aren't they? Why so many Q's?
To praise an excellent botanical garden.
Praise an excellent botanical garden.
I see. So you've sort of made lots of sort of nature references to turn me into a sort of nature lover. Good heavens, I can't remember your Christian name. What do you say, for the sake of symmetry alone, that we two pair off together as well? I'm told that I have a certain technique at... Well, I leave you to persuade me to show you.
The Manchester Guardian received many coded letters from occupied France. The English newspaper was thought by many Germans to be a provincial affair with a strict moral agenda and a very small readership of Seventh-day Adventists and Baptists and Wesleyans. Very conservative Christians with modest ambitions. The Germans thought Manchester was the home of the dull sort of English nonconformist, and the word guardian seemed associated with the word for governess, meaning a harmless and prim childminder. The newspaper began to receive articles from a woman calling herself the Mauve Lady. The features editor quickly recognized Luper's mannerisms. Excessive double negatives, an unnecessary E in development, complex flying and water metaphors, and a fondness for making lists. The newspaper contacted British Army intelligence, who contacted Martino Noccavelli. All three authorities were happy, it seems, to endanger Luper's life by keeping the contact open. Luper had found, apparently, another conduit for his fake natural history reports. Continuity was preserved at least until September 1940, when the body of Mrs. Haps Mills was found in the fountain at Vaux. The verdict was declared suicide, but this was kept secret in order not to embarrass Nietzsche's sister.
Late 16th century.
Could be Heinrich Goltzius.
Or Bartholomew Sprenger.
Commissioned by the Margrave of Alsace.
Venus and Cupid.
Venus and Mars. Lost door. Callisto and Diana.
Goltzius was one-handed.
He lost his right hand in a fire as a child.
Engravings.
Difficult to say how much they're worth just now.
Before 1938, perhaps £20,000?
Who knows how many French francs?
16th century pinups.
Are you thinking of stealing them? I would never have thought it worth it. I confess I'm a man of little imagination. Harps? You have little imagination, they say in the army. So, I go where men of little imagination go. To women. And horses. Women lift their skirts because I have no imagination. Horses lift their legs because I have no imagination. They jump for joy. For me, they jump fences for me. And birds sing lustily. And dogs like me. They cock their legs and bark. Bow wow, tweet tweet, I love you. Horses don't laugh. Birds don't need to laugh. Women can't tell jokes, they say in the army. The army has many rules of convenience. And one rule says that women should have no sense of humor. I have fallen in love with the cook, Anna Maria. Her name is Anna Maria. She's a cook. She has a great sense of humor. She's Alsatian. Big hips. Bow wow, tweet tweet, I love you. Not bad, huh?
Mr. Julien Lefrenique knows you are a cultivated man. He insisted we should keep you a prisoner at a place you might enjoy. Where he says to keep you stimulated. He really treasures you, that man. Sometimes I can see why, sometimes not. I came here when I was a boy. My cousin worked here in the kitchens. She's married now to Rita. She was the first woman I ever kissed, long before Mathilde. It is I first thought about bringing you this place. What do you think of Zalati?
Hey, Zalotti, money up. You can stop the kissing and start the counting. I need tipping.
Oh, it's the currency motorcyclist. What's big on the stock market just now?
I'd take it in marks if I was you. I'll offer you special rates. Motorbike rates. plus a little extra for danger money.
My word. What figuring. What a head. What insight.
Be prepared for tightening of belts. Hit the squeezer. Cheap money. Take it or leave it. I came via Gant and Lille to get to you quicker.
What could I buy from you? What could you sell me? I know. First, I'll give you 20 francs for those dirty goggles. Take them off.
Hot money in more ways than one. My seat is raw, my body's stiff, my prick is freezing.
Shut your filthy mouth. There are women present.
I tell you what, pay me 1,000. No, pay me the value of your motorcycle.
Money's dropping, that's not good enough.
I must go home. Mathilde is lonely. I've had this trouble before. She needs a man badly at all times. I must go back. You can keep the money.
I'll offer you good stock market value.
I think you ought to give yourself up, Luper, and we can all go home. We could arrange Luper to have an accident.
A motorcycle accident?
I'll light your cigarette if it helps. Do you inhale smoking or non-smoking, direct or indirect current? Light my fire. There's no smoke without fire. Fire in your belly, fire in your eyes, fire! There's one good thing, one compensation. You're no longer a minor, which means you can officially be seduced. And I can officially seduce you without being sent to prison. You do want to be seduced, don't you?
On the first anniversary of the Führer's great military adventure in Poland, Vaux will be having a visit from Field Marshal von Plantini, Supreme Commander of occupying forces in northern France. In his honor, we will reconstitute a famous Vaux celebration, the great banquet of the 17th August 1661, when the Lord High Treasurer Nicolas Fouquet offered this chateau and its grounds to Louis XIV, who declined the generous offer, only to arrest Monsieur Fouquet, fabricate evidence against him, imprison him for life, and steal all his property. General Firstling himself will play Fouquet. I think we ought to put forward Mr. Luper as the 14th Louis.
It will be an honor to play the King of France at a time when Germany was nothing more than a bickering scuttle of little tiddler allotments.
Careful, Luper. The sun shone out of his arse, not yours.
The imprisoned Luper continued to draw and write. All his efforts were directed at Sissy. He borrowed the example of his father's letters. He wrote endless love letters and dreamt of escape and making the long walk north across France to be with his love.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved unwisely.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved an elder man unwisely. She read all he had written, his letters, his diaries, his private thoughts. She tried to lock him up in a bathroom, but he escaped. She waited for him. In secret, she washed his face, his feet. She combed his hair. He was a writer of sorts, fond of exotic place names, making lists, dreaming of a woman sending messages.
Sissy, was that you? Is that... Will that be you?
It's me.
How on earth did you get it? Are you a prisoner too?
No, I am the mad woman. Sissy, there's a happy.
What?
Well, for tonight, I am her substitute. It swims so slowly.
It's very old. It could be 80 years old.
Move slowly and live long.
But it's still a prisoner. Large fish in a small lake. 80 years in the same water.
So it could have been swimming here when the Germans last came this way, in 1871. Well, we should swim for freedom.
The lake is entirely man-made. It doesn't join the sea. There's no chance of freedom.
As I came here so easily.
Easily?
Yes, I can come again. We should make careful plans for your freedom. Plans that are going to be permanent. Leave now and they will surely find you. You are an expensive trophy. You are worth money.
I suspect, Herr Forstling, had Fouquet behaved the way you are behaving, he would have been arrested for extreme pomposity. Surely you admired the man for his civilization, not his superciliousness. I believe you, Herr Forstling, to be imprisoned by an obsession. You are a prisoner of a fictitious history.
Tables are turned. History is righted. Put on his crown. Your prisoner, gentlemen, has assumed even greater importance than you ever dared imagine. You now have a prisoner to be kept in perpetual imprisonment. Imprisonment everlasting. And you are to be his jailers forever. Everlasting! Would this be your missing husband, madame? Since you cannot see his face,
Once upon a time,
you can believe it.
there was a beautiful woman.
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved unwisely.
But then, it is probable
But then,
that
our woman loved unwisely.
I rejoin you, Luper, to your wife. You can now both live in perpetual imprisonment, and you can keep your dreams alive. Because you cannot see him and disprove his fears, and he can believe you to be whoever he likes.
Well, maybe I shall call you William.
And cook for you.
And cook for you.
And convince
you back into
loving
loving me again.
My smile
My
bright.
smile bright. My eyes staring at you like wet.
Like wet
diamonds.
Go! Shut her up! She's ridiculous, but infectious.
Louis XIV Superintendent Fouquet built the Chateau at Vaux on an entirely novel plan in 1660, with new architects, new garden designers, new interior decorators. He excited the envy of his master, the 23-year-old Louis XIV, who had Fouquet arrested and impeached and jailed for life. Some say he had Fouquet imprisoned in an iron mask. Louis confiscated the chateau and the gardens at Vaux-le-Vicomte, stripping them to the bone. He sent everything: paintings, furniture, drawings, mirrors, staircases, plants, trees, statues, fountains, along with the architects, the gardeners, and the decorators, off to Versailles, where he built a bigger, grander, and much more expensive version of Vaux for himself. In 1940, Vaux-le-Vicomte was occupied by the Germans and used briefly as a staff headquarters. After an attempt to adapt it into the Eugenics Rehabilitation Center, it was plundered. And along with the German High Command for Northern France, its paintings, furniture, drawings, mirrors, staircases, plants, trees, statues, and fountains were moved to Versailles. What you could call a second sacking for Vaux-le-Vicomte.
Monsieur Fouquet.
Monsieur Fouquet.
You are looking splendid.
You are looking splendid.
Although you are wearing my ancestor's hat backwards, the feather was at the front.
Are you in there, my love? Don't fear. Perhaps it could have been worse, much worse. They could have imprisoned other parts of your anatomy. And not your pretty face. Consider that.
3,000 hectares, 500 paintings.
And then,
17
what would I have done?
It's apparent, Colonel Firstling, that you have been overstepping the mark. Being profligate, spending our scarce resources, which are not yours to spend. Being, in fact, an old-fashioned potentate, assuming powers you have no right to assume. Fraternizing with doubtful patriots, and now becoming native, as we can see. And as history repeats itself, why should 1871 be so successfully repeated in 1939? So, Firstling, in your concern to alter a historical verdict, you have merely succeeded in confirming one. We can quite safely say that you have indeed repeated Fouquet's mistakes. And if Fouquet and Firstling are one, then you will know history's verdict. The same, now as then. I'm persuaded to relieve you of your command. You have one more duty. You have a prisoner, I understand, from Antwerp. I have received notice that he can be a useful pawn in our relations with American sympathizers. We have no desire, as I'm sure even you would agree, that Republican America would enter this war on the wrong side. Your last duty at Vaux is to accompany this man to my office tonight at midnight.
Voltaire said that on the 17th of August 1661 at 6 in the evening, Nicolas Fouquet was King of France, and at midnight he was a nobody. On 17th September 1940 at 6 in the evening, General Firstling was a sort of King of France, but by midnight he was certainly a nobody.
All right, Mr. Luper.
What does it feel like?
My head is in jail, but my body is free. Smell, sight and hearing, taste and smell are all locked up. My face will rot without
washing and sunlight.
I cannot blow my nose or clean
I cannot blow my nose or clean my teeth.
My hair and beard will grow to suffocate me.
My beard will grow to suffocate me.
I might have 3 months to live.
I might have 3 months to live.
I have no face.
I have no face!
Perhaps we should be curious about the ultimate prison.
A coffin?
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved unwisely. She was a mistress of Louis XIV's son, and 8 months pregnant. She died of smallpox and was buried in an oak coffin, in a marble sarcophagus, in a shabby chapel, in a provincial church. Perhaps she tried to commit suicide, because smallpox disfigures beyond the reach of the most ardent lust. She was not dead, however, and she gave birth in her coffin. And just think a little of its horror. Confined space, darkness cold, legs pressed together, little air. This event was discovered 5 days later, when her lover sought to recover a necklace he had given her. They had thought to look for the necklace in the coffin. They found the necklace, not around her throat, but in 2 parts. One part around the baby's neck as a last gift, or perhaps as a ligature to strangle the boy. The other half was found in the woman's intestine. She had swallowed it in an attempt to die a little faster.
Since it is my attempt to remake history that put the mask round your head, I, of course, in the circumstances, should take it off. You should, by rights, put it on me. I have become Fouquet in ways I did not expect. It should be made to pay the same price.
Zelotti and Figura persuaded Luper to steal 23 of the Vaux erotic engravings. After the Fouquet party, Luper and Sissy made a bid for escape, but were sprayed with aircraft gunfire on the bridge crossing the lake in the direction of the road to Paris. Luper was caught and placed before a firing squad.
You cannot shoot our prisoner. You cannot shoot our prisoner. You cannot shoot our prisoner. You cannot shoot our prisoner.
My prisoner.
How come he's your prisoner all of a sudden? How come he's your prisoner all of a sudden? How come he's your prisoner all of a sudden?
Because I'm in charge.
He belongs to an important official in Berlin. He belongs to an important official in Berlin. Official in Berlin.
I'm in fucking charge, you big fool. You're whining, complaining about your damn precious family. Well, he's my ticket to safety. It's my ticket to safety. It's my ticket to safety.
I looked after him.
It was me, you big dope. I bought him bloody cherries and camembert. I cooked for him. I wiped his runny nose. I wiped his bloody backside. All you've done is given him a bloody moustache. All you've done is given him a bloody moustache. All you've done is given him a bloody moustache. Get out of the way. Get out of the way, or we shoot all three of you. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Shoot him. Him? Yeah. He's to blame. He's the one who wanted to steal all the dirty drawings.
What's its worth?
10,000 francs?
10,000?
Yeah, Belgian.
Belgian?
All right, French.
French?
Yeah, 20,000.
Then show us the money. Then show us the money. Show us the money.
Some of that is for my kids. Some of that is for my kids. Some of that is for my kids.
Oh, look, he's blubbering. Come on. Oh, he's blubbering. Come on, shoot him. Oh, look, he's blubbering. Come on, shoot him. Shoot him. Come on. Shoot the big bubber. Strip! Shoot him! Strip! Shoot the big bubber. Strip! 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 What do you mean?
Take your bloody clothes off. We need to blackmail you. Take your bloody clothes off. We need to blackmail you.
You're such a skeletal bleeder in a tight squeeze.
Clothes off.
You little monkey.
What are you going to do? Tie ribbons on your prick and shove a cream bun up your ass. And then take photograph. Simple.
They did as they promised, and more, for 2 hours. It was the price Zalotti had to pay to get them to shoot the wrong man. They did shoot Figura, though in their excitement they did not at first kill him outright. He was probably still conscious of the ironies of life when they made Zalotti commit atrocities on his body that Figura's sexual experience had not even equipped him to imagine. They would probably have shot Zalotti and Luper as well, save they were distracted. 3 lorry loads of fair-haired women under 25 were driven into Vaux along the back gravel paths so as not to overexcite the battalion who had been 3.5 months out of Hamburg.
Could have been worse, Luper. You didn't have to humiliate yourself. No, I did it all for you, yeah. I saved your skin. Well, now you owe me, mate. I'll make you pay for what you made me do in full. And more. Oh, you're for it now, Mr. Bloody Englishman. You made me make all those poor orphans. Saving your precious English skin!
My name is Tulse Luper, and I'm a prisoner of love. My name is Tulse Luper, and I'm a prisoner of love.
I said goodbye to no one. I didn't pack properly. And why do we have to have him alone? Let him out. He doesn't fit in with us. He's a liability.
Shut up. He's upset. They nearly shot him.
We don't need passengers. I insist we drop him off. Why do we have to have this inconvenient Englishman?
He's my meal ticket. I need him.
Oh, he has a Belgian name, which is a handicap. I don't want to be associated with him. Look at his clothes.
Well, look at my clothes, for God's sake. Stop the car! Stop the car! Rubbish, she's enjoying herself.
Oh, don't stop, for Christ's sake. There's no room for her as well in this miserable little wheelbarrow.
What the hell are you doing? So I try and save your life, and you try and kill us.
That woman was always borrowing things. She always wanted what she couldn't have.
Yeah, like you.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, salmon when they offered you trout, pineapple when they brought you oranges. Meanwhile, poor bloody Figura's family starving in an attic in Antwerp.
Oh, don't go on about Figura, the sad-faced ape.
Shut up. He's worth half a dozen of you. He's a dedicated family man. He's upright. He's straight as a die. He's responsible. I've known that man half my life.
Yes, and then how come he's not with us now?
Well, he got detained. I'm going back for him later. I'm just going to see that his children are all right. 12 of them.
12? Jesus, there's a war on. He had no business having so many children.
And what would you know about having children, eh? All good Catholics have as many children as they like. It's their patriotic duty.
All right. Then how come you haven't paid your patriotic duty?
Because I meant you.
No, I don't want to be that patriotic. Wear myself to a frazzle having children to be brought up speaking German. Oh.
What do you mean German? I thought that's what you liked. Fraternising with all them krauts.
Why do you think I make passes at you, for God's sake? But don't call them krauts. Some of the most educated.
Oh,
some
don't
of the most
give me that old rubbish.
What about the rubbish that trips off your tongue? We're all prisoners if we only knew it. One man's paradise is another man's hell.
Shut up!
You shut up!
Who are you telling to shut up, you stuck-up French bitch?
Oh, that's it. I want to get out. Oh, I can't go on driving like this. All over the country. You're a lousy driver.
I'm not all over the country, and I'm not a lousy driver. If you don't like it, you can get out.
I might just do it. You're driving too fast. It doesn't have to be like this.
Oh, yes, it bloody does. If you don't like it, you don't stop whining and bloody complaining. You can get out. Come on, actually, get out. Come on, get out! Get out!
Once upon a time, there was a beautiful woman who loved unwisely.
I am staring at the sky on a road somewhere in northern France, a long way from home. And I am going to die childless, unloved, unhappy, alone. God, rest my soul, for I have deeply sinned.
The doll is a baby substitute. The glove is a second skin to protect and warm the hand. Money to demonstrate exchange. Female underclothes.
In Vienna, in 1992, an exhibition was held in the Hofburg and in the Semper Depot entitled 100 Objects to Represent the World.
It was an ironic stock-taking exercise before the approach of the millennium of how the 20th century might be represented.
It was a collection built upon Luper's original shopping list, made in 1940.
Guns to demonstrate aggression, the desire to kill, the arms race, greed, ingenuity, destruction. The domestic fly to demonstrate insects, entomology, potential disease, fear, insidious smallness.
The flight demonstrates why horses and giraffes have tails.
Luper had measured out his new prison meticulously.
182 numbered seats. Auditorium, 26 by 30 meters. 12 house lights. 6 by 8 meter screen.
God's promise not to flood the world again. The rainbow is an unnecessary phenomenon of which no live thing has taken advantage. No animal is parasitic on a rainbow. No one colonizes a rainbow. No one uses a rainbow like they use a cloud or hot air. No one can exploit them to measure anything by, test anything by. The only exploiters, and that for the idea, not the reality, are writers.
Wake up, Tulse. You're blocking the gangway. Isn't she amazing? A woman looping the loop in a man's world.
Are you watching the same picture as me?
She's burning a hole in the screen. But don't fall in love with her. She wanted to be a virgin martyr. You know how they hold their apples? They all love it. Because it's a woman being humiliated again.
It's France being humiliated. But the English were the enemy this time.
English, German, same difference. We all survived Little Engine.
She did.
Yes, she did. F12, bald head, big feet, small dinger. Backstairs, the liquor cleanish, married. Joni's riding a golden horse in the Cour de Tuileries. And she's on the Frank. Everyone can touch Joni, Little Engine.
Yeah, but only her face. I want to glue this money between your cheeks, and I don't mean on your face. Three more where this came from. Dirty bastard! Shh. Think of who's touched this note.
Everyone in the high street. Yeah. What intimate contact with the community. Money from heaven raining straight into your purse. My fame is for sale, but my soul is my own. Arlette is speaking loudly over a glass of champagne bought for her by German General Maxims Monte Carlo, September 1938.
France has been occupied so often. You'd think she was a Prussian whore.
Oh, shut up, misery. Better to be run well by others than badly by your own. The lady in the Third Berlin sometime in the 1880s, Sacher Masoch.
Another dirty-minded German?
Dirt knows no nationality, my sweet. The three happy lieutenants are back. They each want a helping hand.
Not even with gloves on, Little Engine. They've come to see a French herring glorified by a German director. Why spoil it? There are no French herons anymore.
They're going to dig up that Kraut director and shoot him. How about it, Luper?
He's alive and they not. He's living in California, and he's Swedish. Liver sausage is the Achilles heel of Prussia. Trixie Boudin, Arc-en-Ciel Cinema, Strasbourg, 1940.
It's a golden opportunity to squeeze the Nazis by the balls. Hey, Luper, what about it?
And end up propped up against a wall in the alley. You should get yourself organized.
We are organized.
Why do it after the show? On the back stairs, organize things in here, in the break.
They couldn't burn a virgin. It would put out the fire.
Sex and cinema offer both in the Arc-en-Ciel a rainbow start for the birth of a nation.
She had to burn to destroy the English croissant in the oven.
Bun, it was the bun. The expression was bun in the oven.
out from underneath the eye of the Gestapo and meet the clients in the projection box. Sex a source of light.
We're getting excited, aren't we, Ted's little engine?
Perhaps they did get Luper excited, sitting in a cinema at night by the light of his usher's battery torch. Luper, perhaps moved by Dreyer, perhaps through Felicité's provocation, or perhaps in memory of Figura's children, pored over his vandalized film clips and wrote an opera libretto. It was a miracle play, a fable of the humiliation of women by church and state, for daring to exceed the world's expectations of womanhood. He called it The Baby of Strasbourg. Many years later, 1993, the libretto was made into a film and not an opera. To avoid copyright complications, the name was changed.
Are we really born like this?
It is a boy.
So naked.
It has 10 fingers.
So wet.
Its ears are perfect.
And that smell.
Isn't he big?
Is God or the devil responsible for such a birth?
It has a heart. Rub its eyes. They are blue, like the comet.
Luper's original manuscript of The Baby of Strasbourg was found, appropriately, in Strasbourg Cathedral, hidden close by the painting of The Descent from the Cross by Robert Campen.
Christ born like this, out of the Virgin Mary. Joseph see God's son like this.
It has 10 toes. Its eyes are open.
He is so beautiful.
Its little prick. So perfect.
God, where did you spring?
God, where did you spring?
How the hell did you get in?
How the hell did you get in?
Please tell me so I know how to get out.
Please, tell me so I know how to get out.
I locked myself in the toilet.
I'm afraid the show is over.
I'm afraid the show is over.
Far from it. I'm waiting for your jailer.
He won't come here. It's too public.
He won't come here.
You want to arrange a meeting?
Too public.
You want to arrange
a meeting?
I would be interested to hear, just professionally, you understand.
I would be interested to hear. Just professionally, you understand.
Could you say what you have to say with bullets?
Could you say what you have to say with bullets? Because that would help.
With my compliments.
Please
make sure you muss his hair up.
Please make sure you muss his hair.
well-combed hair.
Stand his well-combed head.
Don't worry, we won't get hit. It's the safest place in Strasbourg. The English airmen have been instructed not to hit the
English airmen
cathedral.
have been instructed not to hit the cathedral.
If you go down the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every feather ever was will gather for Sunday
I think this would be fine for Maxie. Tell me honestly, you think this would be fine for Maxie? He's 5. You know, do you think he's too old? Do you think he's too old to cuddle a toy like this? At times of distress, children do need extra comfort, don't they? I've got a paint box for Hyacinth. It says she wants to colour in pictures of the Führer. Make him look healthier. She says, hey!
Get rid of that moustache.
Get rid of that moustache.
Moustache. Moustache.
You know, at least make it paler, like Ludwig Lee. Hey? Hey? You know, Figura always wanted an artist in the family. You actually working or not? Did you hear that, mate? I said I've sent for him. Yeah? Yeah! Yeah, they can come live with me. Well, you know, except Antoine. He's in engineering college in Antwerp. He's making guns. Yeah, he's doing very well. I'm gonna need some more money for looking after you, though. I need you to write me a letter asking for more subsidy. Something like, yeah. Now, what, dear Mr. Lefrenick, owing to the sad demise of my dear friend, Stefan Figura, due to unforeseen circumstances, Stefan Figura, yeah, da-da-da-da-da, something like that. Something like that. Something like that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think? What? Hey! Now, you know Lefrenick's going up in the world. He's designing rockets. The Germans reckon he's got influence with the Americans. Designing rockets to send bombs across the Atlantic. That should end the war in Europe too, sweet, eh? You're not saying very much! Could afford to be a little more fucking generous, don't you think? Or very least you could do, the very least you could do, is do some babysitting work for me, huh? Yeah. Have you done anything? What? Have you offered? No! You know, while I go out, I do some painting, some decorating, you know, like the Fuhrer had to. You know, before he trained as an architect, before he became a public speaker. I think we should be allowed him free, Luper, don't you, considering?
Considering what?
No, we'll pay. Like good citizens. Do you have a full house, Luper?
It's always better on a full moon. The English can see better.
Well, it's good to see you, like the French, so well occupied. Passion sends you a regard. She's safely married. I have a child. Her husband is a dentist. Ah, you might remember him. Only now he looks after Himmler's teeth. And we know whose teeth Himmler is looking after. I'm only sorry that you have to spend so much time in the dark. Man is not a nocturnal animal.
Not in a cinema. Too dark. Too many germs. Too obvious. Try a cathedral. People will give you more sympathy in a cathedral. A crime of passion. A crime of revenge. A religious solution. Cathedral is bigger. More echoic. More symbolic. More dramatic, more presence, more melodrama, more exits.
Madame Cleanse was full of plans of revenge for Zalotti's perfidy of throwing her out of a car somewhere on a country road in northern France. But Zalotti worked a sentimental strategy on her religious nature, making an appeal that he was the custodian of Figura's 11 children, and without his protection, they would suffer. Madame Cleanse was convinced and took it upon herself to look after their spiritual well-being in the sanctuary of the Strasbourg Cathedral. Appropriately, the gun that Luper had discovered on the floor of the Arc-en-Ciel cinema found an innocent resting place.
Whether for his own amusement, or because it gave him access to a typewriter, or because Luper was interested in Figura's post-mortem affairs, Luper wrote, for money, children's literature in Flemish, begging letters in French, mild erotica in German. He was very productive. Perhaps he was stimulated by the films he saw in the cinema every evening and afternoon.
you get to by boat or train. Far, far away.
So you have become Adam at last. Joseph Smith would be proud of you. This is your family. So many children and so quickly. Tribes of Israel with Flemish accents. Amusing. What is this, some sort of prank? My jailer is dead and already his offspring are forming a community? Watch out, Figura, sperms are in the air. Matilda's breeding like a rabbit, keeping a pocket of her husband's essence on her person. In a pouch, perhaps. Figura will surely father a whole new post-war community. Are you sure you're not responsible?
It's time, Lefrenic, to set me free.
And where would you go in occupied France? And anyway, what is freedom in wartime? Besides, you're an icon. Do you know you're being collected? I have associates who pay money for your Antwerp manuscripts. My fortunes prosper according to your imprisonment. I'd be a fool to let you go.
You know, sooner or later, little engines, every actor and actress is obliged to die and to fuck.
Make love.
Make love? Okay, make love. I always thought that was a curious phrase. Anyway, they're obliged to die in public and do the second in secret. Could you imagine it the other way around? Fuck.
Make love.
Sleep together.
Jesus, even funnier. Sleep together in public and die in private. The end of most plays and operas will be pretty boring. That the actor most certainly does not die, and we are pretty certain that they don't fuck.
Make love.
Sleep together.
Copulate.
Oh, what does that mean?
It's the same, but no frills.
That the actor does not die, and we're pretty certain that they don't copulate. We are asked nonetheless to believe in both. A difficult decision for the head to take if the heart doesn't want to. If we knew that they really died, to give us a little thrill, a little melancholy for free, would we feel the same way? Of course we wouldn't. We would be annoyed, to say the least. I would be annoyed. What on earth is an actor dying for in a film? To give me a little thrill of misery? All around us, people are dying like flies, and we pay to watch actors pretend that they're dying like flies. All around us, people fuck, copulate, make love, sleep together.
They wish.
If they were, we would not make any extras here.
And I was going to say, excuse me, we come to the cinema to pretend to know that they're doing it off-screen in secret.
Perhaps they really are.
That Italian actress with the warts probably is.
Warts? Unlikely. An actress with the warts is likely to be doing everything in secret.
Including acting.
If actors didn't die or fucked, etc., why would we come to the cinema? Cinema would have disappeared ages ago.
Sissy? Where have you been all this time? How did you find me?
It was not too difficult to find you. A man who spends all his time in a cinema is a curiosity. But I had no idea that he also worked in a brothel. And with such convenient birds. You are sort of a mysterious celebrity. The Englishman who tears the tickets. I have an idea that the audience comes to see you, not the film.
What?
Like I did. I've seen Joan of Arc 3 times. I'm surprised that the Gestapo let you show such a patriotic film.
Danish director.
But its sympathies favor the French. They're looking for another St. Joan. I've been here for 10 minutes.
Which means?
Yes, that Trixie's very capable. She has a dictionary of quotes and long legs and deep hollows at the back of her knees. That was the best way to get to you.
My God, it is.
Ow! Jesus.
What?
What is it?
From an admirer for your friend Trixie. From her husband.
I have a better present for you than roses. I have a chauffeur and a car. And a cathedral.
Cathedral?
And the car are mine. The cathedral belongs to God. Come to me at the front of the cathedral at 10 o'clock next Saturday night. Under the porch.
Under the angels.
Under the angels of God.
Tire-lui jusqu'à la tête. Vous ne faites pas partie d'une société de sauvetage, monsieur? Non, non, pourquoi? Non, eh ben, nous faut une pétition pour qu'on vous décore. Non, 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 je ne veux pas de décoration.
Pourquoi pas? Tu la mérites?
Il faut, ne t'inquiétez pas. Moi, je fais partie d'une société de sauveteurs. J'avais sauvé personne parce que quelqu'un l'a menti. Oui, mais c'est comme ça. Il faut de la chance. Il faut savoir nager.
Vous n'avez pas compris?
Mais non, je pensais seulement arrêter des chevaux emballés. Eh ben, mon ami, est-ce que je suis mort? Je vais m'en vouloir. Oui, on ne sait pas encore très bien où il en est. Leur père commence. Qu'est-ce qu'il dit? Il était fou. Dévoilez-vous, je vais me noyer.
Encore?
Mais il y tient. Vous étiez tiré de l'eau, vous n'allez pas y retourner. Pourquoi vous m'avez tiré de l'eau? Je veux vous sauver. C'est pour me sauver, je m'étais jeté. La vie me dégoûte.
Sissy Kolpitz was waiting at the cathedral porch on the night of November 12th. Luper did not arrive. He was otherwise detained. Just how is a matter for conjecture. There were a number of possibilities.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have, Your Honor. Guilty of murder in the second degree.
Then her breasts were covered in blood, and she begins screaming like, "Ah!"
There were many scenarios of escape, most of them borrowed from the hundreds of films Luper watched at the Arc-en-Ciel cinema, until what was fact and what was cinema became indistinguishable.
Tulse.
Indeed, the difference between reality and cinema seemed to grow irrelevant, a situation which in some people's interests was deliberately left unresolved.
It's not clear how, in fact, Luper eventually escaped. Perhaps it was a distraction of an air raid. The cinema was full of local residents having unwarrantable trust in a concrete roof. Or perhaps he sneaked out with a late-night crowd of revelers on Christmas Eve after a performance of more pro-French propaganda.
It seems to be true that Trixie Boudin, the Arc-en-Ciel usherette, became a scapegoat. But whether that was a reality or an idea created to punish her for her loquacity is not known. If she had ever wanted to be in the movies, it was a curious way for her dreams to be realized.
I won't cry.
That's a good kid.
Bye, Tulse.
What is certain is that by midnight on the 14th of November 1940, Sissy Colpitts had disappeared. One of the twin cinema managers of the Arc-en-Ciel cinema in Strasbourg had been shot, and Luper was certainly on a train accompanied by 2 children and a coffin halfway across France and heading for Dinard on the French coast. This is a portrait of Madame Boitessier, painted in the 1840s by the French painter Ingres.
My children tell me that you are a man in distress.
This is a second portrait of Madame Boitessier, completed 6 years earlier.
My husband and I are concerned. Of course we are.
You can see how the woman in the portraits aged from 23 to 36, though the second painting was begun before the first and then completed after it.
It is difficult, as I am sure you're aware.
In this painting, the woman in the flesh aged, whilst the woman in the painting stood still. Whilst in this painting, the woman was painted younger than she was in memory, in honor of a former state.
Très difficile. Difficult times. Les temps désagréables.
It could be said that this was a painting of the future, and this was a painting of the past. A fascinating dislocation of time. But the subject of these paintings is now long dead, and her delicious plump white flesh has long decayed.
I have lost a servant, forcibly abducted. I suspect you're now in Germany, working in a forced labor camp. C'est la vie. Cannot be helped, I suppose. C'est la vie. Cannot be helped, I suppose. She was Jewish.
However, there was a certain resurrection and reincarnation of the desirable if a little vacant-looking Madame Wattissier, not in the 1840s in Paris, but in the 1940s at Dinard on the French coast.
Cannot be helped, I suppose.
Tulse Luper met that reincarnation.
Jewish. And she is. I'm sure she still is. Malheureusement, a wonderful seamstress. Can you sew? Can you embroider? Can you sew? Can you embroider?
A button on a shirt.
Pity. Quel dommage. Perhaps you can learn.
It seems, madam, you have a most excellent of seamstresses.
Take no notice of her. Take no notice of her. She is all thumbs. She is all thumbs. And she smells. And she smells. She could be from Algeria. We are entitled to replace our lost servants, but we cannot hire a servant who is a male. All able-bodied male servants have been enlisted. It would have to be subterfuge on your part. Take it or leave it. We are artists. We are artists. In these difficult times. In these difficult times. Artists need models.
Ingres was a very successful portrait painter. He drew and painted fashionable women of the Second Empire with great expertise, but Madame Wattissier gave him considerable trouble. He started this painting only to abandon it, to restart it again, and re-abandon it, overall some 4 times. It was said that the painter was in love with his subject. He had written to friends about the whiteness of her throat and the swell of her breasts. He mentioned the delight of her sudden violent temper and noted in her a certain sense of calculated cruelty. But he always complained that there was, in his portrait of Madame Wattissier, something missing, something incomplete.
I would be obliged if you could sit for us for drawing classes, painting classes, in the flesh, au naturel. One thing, are you Jewish?
No.
Can you prove it? My husband needs to be convinced. He is a Jew expert. Perhaps you would like to step outside into a hall and convince my husband you're not Jewish. It's a little drafty out there. However, you can both be quick. It's a little drafty out there. However, you can both be quick. Quiet, Felix. Too much noise.
I was in love with your predecessor. Show me your hands. She had beautiful hands. I understand you have to convince me you're not Jewish.
I'm not Jewish.
Prove it. Prove it. If you were Jewish, and you were living in my house, our house, this house, I need to know. Not going through that awful business again. It's not safe for the children.
You well know that this is not conclusive proof.
Of course. Circumcision is a conclusive proof.
Circumcision was once a fashionable Prussian health obsession. All the English royal family, all good German Aryans, are circumcised. Perhaps even the women.
A joking, execrable taste. Though you may find circumcised Gentiles, you will not under any circumstances find uncircumcised Jews. My wife discovered us in the nursery. She was more upset. She was more upset that we were using the children's bedroom than she was by my actual adultery. We have a dilemma.
You have a dilemma. By your definition, I am marked a Jew, but I am not a Jew. I am not a Jew.
Then you'd better behave. After my wife found us together, she arranged for your predecessor to be discovered. If only to save the children from persecution. At the time of her arrest, Marion... The time of her arrest... was in the garden, picking cabbages. Marion was in the garden. Picking cabbages. Oh, she had such beautiful hands. Picking cabbages. She picked cabbages in the garden. Just for me. Red ribbons in her hair. Keep the hair out of her eyes. God, where is she now? Marion, where are you now? I don't like cabbage. Cabbage water smells like menstrual urine. Cabbage water smells like menstrual urine. Took her to Rouen, and I followed her. They took her to Rouen. Then they took her to Lyon. I followed her, then they took her to Lyon. They tortured her, I know it. They tortured her. I know it. Dark room. They took her into a dark room. Down the floor. Down on the floor. Behind a large settee. In the corner. Behind a large settee. These dark passages. I often see her in these dark passages. Around tea time. About the time she came to me in her maid's cap and apron. God. 5 of them. In uniform. Oh, God, no, no. God, 5 of them in uniform. No, no, no. They held it out. Boots. Oh, God. After that, who knows? Perhaps they took her to Dachau, where I'm told there's a factory making socks. Each Jewish prisoner has to make 100 pairs of socks a day. An impossible and unrealistic target. Socks. An impossible and unrealistic target. Socks.
Les temps désagréables.
My wife gives me an allowance to procure corpses for dissection. Europe is full of corpses just now.
In his Moscow prison, Luper was to write a fiction called Augsbergensfeld. It was the tale of an early 17th century anatomist searching for the human soul, which he believed was an anatomical property, like that of the cortex of the brain, or a section of the heart, part of the liver, or the pancreas. Luper may or may not have been influenced by Moitessier's gloomy anatomical spirit and macabre investigations. Augsbergensfeld is a fiction that Luper worked on throughout his prison's existence, often having to start all over again as each draft was lost or confiscated.
I was cheated. I paid for 2, but I am still awaiting the delivery of his brother. He used to be a cinema manager, apparently. However, the other twin is very much alive and in a raging grief. Wants to bury the corpse, can't find it. I thought I could make a comparison of the lymphatic glands. He was shot, apparently, for letting some important prisoner escape. A communist, Swede, or some such, accused of innumerable crimes. Why they want to shoot cinema managers is beyond me. The cinema is about the only means we've got these days to escape from our cramped little prisons, wouldn't you say? I take my children to the cinema regularly. Strangely enough, they like escape movies. A small genre, but not undistinguished.
According to Martino Noccavelli, who is supposed to have heard it direct from Luper, Madame Tessier employed a woman called Guam Ravillon to take care of her large wardrobe. She may have been an Algerian in some sort of disgrace. The Mortesses thrived on conspiracies and secret prisoners. It is possible that husband and wife were competitive in prisoners, each trying to outdo the other in prisoner conspiracies.
We must plumb you up. We don't want them to take you away, make you play a tuba in a rally, cut your hair. What you don't eat, you can feed Charlie. He would like that.
Can you tell your husband to stop smoking? It gives me a headache.
My husband is a rule unto himself, Wolfgang. I cannot tell him what to do. And besides, I thought you liked smoking.
His smoking will be the death of me.
Oh, I doubt that. Your music will be the death of you. I tell you what, you should try to look a little bit more like Schumann. Get Guam Revillon to cut your hair to look like Schumann. If you looked like Schumann, they wouldn't take you away. They hate consumptives. They're far too romantic. Besides, Schumann looked a little bit like Ferdinand, and I like that. And so does Charlie. Charlie is a King Charles Spaniel named after Charles II of England. That's a man and a half for you, Wolfgang.
You're not being very National Socialist. Why not try German sheepdog?
No, far too ugly. Wolf, Wolf, Wolfgang.
Now let my every third thought be of the grave. Death can be the best jailer of them all.
The paintings in Madame Tessier's bedroom are the paintings that much later will surface as the centerpiece of the novel 55 Men on Horseback. After he met Konstanz Belitsky in Czechoslovakia in 1953, Luper will write a fanciful description of each one of the 55 horses.
What are you doing here? You're my servant, not hers.
Bringing breakfast and admiring the pictures.
You interested in the horses, right? They belong to my mother. They belong to my mother. 55 of them. Worth 55 favors. You do me 55 favors, and you will have them. One by one.
In the old days, much of diplomacy was conducted through ransom.
You can have your prisoner back alive for 400,000 francs.
Half price for the corpse. That's a lot of money. A king's ransom, like Richard I of England. Good. I'm a professional ransom, but no one's putting money up for me.
I have some pants.
Not enough, Cecile, but thank you. Some prisoners spent their entire lives in this situation. Nobody wanted them back. It was a way of getting rid of undesirables.
What are undesirables?
Gypsies, cripples, the blind, homosexuals.
What are homosexuals?
Men who love men and women who love women.
We don't want that sort of filthy talk in this house.
Intellectuals, like your father.
Foreign generals.
Bad servants.
Jews.
Yes, Jews.
Marion was a Jew. Papa, why are you crying?
Because I loved Marion.
Yes, we know. Maman said you did. Luper saw her.
We did? Rubbish.
Well, there was a woman looking at me from the end of the corridor. She was sitting on the toilet.
Must have been Grand Ravillon. Filthy toilet habits.
No, it wasn't. Too big for Guam Ravillon.
You don't love Guam Ravillon, do you, Papa? She's a servant, too.
Which toilet?
The one at the back, overlooking the kitchen garden.
Are you allowed to love servants?
Of course.
Then it's easy for me to love you. And since men can love men and women can love women, I can stop worrying about whether you are a man or a woman, can't I? It's all very, very sad.
It was obvious that Madame Moitessier enjoyed games, disguises, and rituals, certainly those that seemingly gave her power over the unfortunates about her. Her dogs, imported in bulk from Staffordshire, helped her keep order, like dogs do. But there had to be frequent executions, and the 6-dog pack game was a favorite.
1, 2, 3.
One for her husband. One for herself. One for Wolfgang Speckler, the ineffectual composer. One for Graham Ravillon, the devoted servant. One for Marion, the missing Jewish seamstress. One for Martha, the resident asthmatic ghost. And the 7th. Was it to be Tulse Luper? Ravillon was punished for daring to assume so.
You must keep your fingers out of the glasses at all times. Hold them by their stalks.
Stems.
Don't huff on them. It spreads germs.
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 What
Germs.
are germs?
Short for Germans. They're poisonous.
Short for Germans. Mama takes poison.
She does?
It's in a small blue bottle in the bathroom. I'll run and get it.
We could try some in the desert glass.
Dessert glass. Keep the sand out of your pronunciation at all times.
You'll never learn to fold napkins.
It should be like a ship on sail.
Sailing ship. We're not selling.
Sailing ship. We're not selling.
I couldn't find the poison, but I found this instead. It's a pistol.
More like a revolver.
Or an automatic.
Why are there always so many words for everything in English?
The English are greedy.
The dinner guests were subjected to a quandary. Were they to paint what they saw? Or did they paint what they expected to see? Or indeed what they wanted to see? They came to draw a woman, but were confronted with the body of a man. The body of a man. They were all political collaborators of one description or another. But they were also determined to feed at the Moitessier table. But they were also determined to feed at the Moitessier. If they painted Luper as a woman, they were subscribing to the law of the occupying forces that a household could employ a female servant and not a male servant. If they painted Luper as a man, they would be obeying their eyes, but they would betray the Moitessiers. Some went one way, through truthfulness and innocence, to the occupying forces. Some went the other way and ended up betraying everything. There was no way that any one of them could preserve their integrity, the truthfulness to their eyes, or their opportunism, all at the same time.
Some fudged the issue. Luper became an hermaphrodite of indeterminate sex, or no sex at all. One woman painted him fully clothed, which was an act of imagination, not observation. Luper contemplated these various attempts to fix an image of himself, governed by eyesight, knowledge, and expediency, and it made him think of the proposition, does an artist draw what he knows or what he sees? He sat up nights in the Moitessier Pentry and wrote a play called The Draftsman's Conflict. Many years later, this was made into a film.
C ist für Zitrone. Zitrone. A ist für Ananas. Ananas. P ist für Pineapple.
For drawing number 2, from 9 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock, the lower lawns of the house, including the formal garden, will be kept clear. No window in the upper part of the house will be opened, closed, or otherwise disturbed.
It's the Coast Guards. I saw the flash.
They are vigilant. And so trigger-happy.
We've broken the curfew.
They must have seen the red light of the stupefy cigar.
Would be ridiculous. That wouldn't.
It could have been true. Wolfgang Speckler was smoking in the garden, and the glowing tip of his cigar broke the strict orders of the military curfew. As he had predicted, smoking was indeed the death of him, and not his music-making.
They are good shots. His music deserves no less.
Luper was to learn of another and much more celebrated German-speaking composer, Anton Webern, who had met the same end through the same means. Luper wrote down a plot to cover the coincidence, which was later made into an opera.
Testicles.
The coffin that had accompanied Luper on the Strasbourg to Dinard train had contained the corpse of the Arc-en-Ciel cinema manager. His revengeful twin had followed, only to become himself a corpse for Moitessier's comparative anatomy dissection.
Thank you, Luper. You are my lucky mascot. I was never really honest with you before. I will share my joy. Here is Marion. She really is. She really is. My love, you will observe, Luper, how majestic are those characteristics that identify her, and for that I can claim some credence. It's me. What would you not give, Luper? To be as well endowed as my love, hmm? You should offer yourself to me. Offer yourself to me, a proud man. Be a proud man. Jesus.
Come sit with me.
Madame?
Come sit with me by this window. Wolfgang is gone. You feel lonely?
Madame, I could not do that.
Why not?
That sort of behavior is not in the nature of my contract.
Contract? There is no contract. You're my skivvy. You have to do what I tell you to do. You are to shut up and like it.
Yes, madame.
And enjoy it.
Exactly, madame.
Otherwise, you go back to some dark country where there is no wooden toilet seat and God is a day pass.
Yes, madame, that is better, much better. But you let your guard down.
Oh, I did not.
You did.
You asked me?
You asked me to sit with you and you smiled.
I never smile. Anger never painted smiling faces.
Then your devotion to anger, madame, is sleeping.
How dare you! My devotion to anger is total.
You have given me permission to dare, and it does not feel right.
Who told you to say what feels right? Skinny?
Unfortunately, you let your guard down, and you might do it again. I could not accept that.
You are an impertinent foreigner with an infected wound.
Good, madame. Very fine. But too late, madame. Too late. I'm very sorry, but too late. Oh, God, what shall I do, madame? It's over.
What's over?
Us, madame. Us.
Kosher. We bought your skin dirty here. What us? There is none us. Stupid fool, get out of my sight.
Yes, madame. But it's over. You have failed me.
It might be that Guam Ravaillac had a hand in Wolfgang's shooting. She might have thought that Madame Montessier's antagonism spread between her two skivvies was too diluted, and she wanted to be the single focus for contempt. And she shot him. But the chances of her acquiring a rifle and also being a good shot are unlikely. On the other hand, she had been accused of murder in Algiers, when her lover, apparently, gave her the present of a feather bed.
The boy insists to see the woman with the red frock who looks like a man.
Luper received an enigmatic gift in a brown paper bag. Cherries, emblem of much that had significantly affected him in his adventures. They were maraschino cherries, over-sweet and artificially preserved.
We are going to play a famous English counting game.
Was there to be an artificial and over-sweet solution to his imprisonment? Or was it a warning of the imminent presence of his persecutors,
Tinker,
or an indication of a relief rescue by sissy culprits?
Sailor.
An agitated Luper made a prophecy game of the gift and awaited his opportunity.
Beggar man. You're going to be a beggar man.
Not me. I'm gonna be a soldier to blow up the Germans.
Tailor. Soldier. Sailor. Rich man. Poor man. Beggar man. Soldier.
Thief. Steve, you can't have a soldier twice.
Soldier. Sailor. Rich man. Poor man. Beggar man.
Artist. Better an artist than a thief. I don't know, perhaps not.
Spy. Thief, I'm afraid it should be thief.
Tinker.
Tailor. Soldier.
Sailor. Rich man. Poor man. Beggar man.
Patriot.
Spy.
Collaborator.
Spy.
Tinker.
Smith.
Tailor.
Clown.
Soldier.
Miser.
Sailor. Rich man, poor man, beggar man.
Virgin, butcher, Dutchman, king.
Angel!
The death of Madame Moitessier, the completion of the portrait, was this the missing something that Ingres could not find? Accused of murder, but since he could not be found, or because he was strangely protected, the police sought other suspects. At the police station, the pistol was discovered to be only marked with the children's fingerprints. Monsieur Moitessier made no special pleas for his children.
Trying to distress me?
He even tried to suggest that Madame Moitessier was not their mother. One police report tried to make a case that it was a contract killing, that Luper was acting under orders from an American Communist Party agency, that the boy Jonah had pulled the trigger, but that Luper had given the order. Luper was a well-known Jew sympathizer, and he surely would have heard of the forced deportation of Marion Haberlein, known to the Gestapo for her exploits in the Dinar Cafe as the Jewish Pompadour.
My children were trying to distress me. 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 My children were trying to distress me.
Monsieur Moitessier made a plea that his children were trying to haunt him, that they had hired a tramp called Rufus to impersonate his dead friend and associate Marion Haberlein and get him to live in the cellar and intimidate Moitessier by pretending that Marion had come back from the dead.